Hey, happy Sunday, everyone. I have just a few quick comments on your blog posts. First of all, let me really commend you all on doing excellent work on this first blog. I really have to admit that of the probably 4 or 5 times that I've now done this assignment with this class, you guys have done the best job overall in terms of providing a great level of detail in your rubrics for evaluating web sources, really thinking through the points of critical analysis that are necessary to understand whether or not a website is credible and reliable. And you all did a great job of applying your rubrics to the websites you chose in specific detail, direct detail. Those things don't always happen, so I wanted to give you kudos for doing a very good job here. Also, let me apologize again. It's a Sunday morning. It's a Starbucks morning, so there might be a bit of noise in the background, unfortunately. Before I just have a couple of comments to make about this blog in general. Before I get there, let me say a couple of things about the logistics of Blackboard's blogs, which you've probably sort of figured out. But in terms of the comments, I added to the comments on a few of the blog posts. I do my best to try to be present in those things where I can, although I just can't possibly reply to every single one of them within the blog itself, and also still provide some feedback in the grading section. So you have to actually go and click on the comments button below each blog post to see what new comments are there. You won't really get any sort of alerts from Blackboard if someone's added a new comment to your blog. At least that's been my experience. So something you just might want to go and check to see what else has been written. When you go into a blog post, there will be a comment that says new, if there is a new comment there, but that's the only thing, that's the only indication you get for a new comment in Blackboard's blogs, unfortunately. So despite that sort of weird quirk, I still like using the blogs because the assignments that we're doing there are quite different from the kinds of assignments we're doing in the discussion board. And so I like to keep that distinction. And I hope that that helps you all as well in terms of kind of thinking differently about what we're doing with the blogs versus what we're doing in the discussion board. The only comment I really wanted to make about the blogs and about this idea of evaluating websites is for us to really think through what we mean when we say something is biased. That's a term that keeps coming up in this class, as well it should. But something we have pointed out is that all authors are biased to one degree or another. All of us bring certain perspectives and certain ideas to the table when we study the past, or when we study current events, or when we study anything, really. So that's something to keep in mind and something to always look for. One of the easiest places to find that is by looking for an author's interpretations. And so it's key to always think about that distinction between evidence and interpretations. Evidence is what we often call facts, those points of record that are not really disputed. Interpretations are the author's explanation of those facts, the way in which he or she tells us why those facts are significant and what they mean to us historically. And so quite a few of you mentioned that your website wasn't really biased, it just laid out the facts with no opinions. But the problem with that is that facts or evidence doesn't speak for itself. It just can't. It wouldn't mean anything. There would be no context. And so authors always place those facts and that evidence in a certain framework, in a certain context. And the context and the framework that they choose can signal what their biases might be. And again, bias shouldn't be a dirty word. Everything is biased. We all have our biases. But we need to look for those things. And as so many of you pointed out, all of these websites are going to be imperfect in one way or another. Whether they're a .edu, a .org, a .com, those things are important as kind of initial signals for the credibility of a website. Of course, the EDUs, the ORGs, they're going to tend to be more credible and reliable than the .coms. At the same time, though, we still have to sift through the evidence and interpretations provided in order to come to a conclusion about where the bias is and what does this source tell me about the particular historical question that I'm researching. So you can see I'm starting to point toward where we're going with the final project. And so I hope that these blog exercises will help you to prepare for that final project. I haven't finished reading through all of your topics yet, but I've begun. So far you've done an excellent job of, excuse me, that sneeze. You've done an excellent job of providing good descriptions of your topics along with well-stated research questions. So I wanted to commend you on that. I'll provide feedback on all of those within the next hour or so you can look for that. So again, hopefully you've enjoyed this blog exercise. If you have any feedback about the way that Blackboard's blogs work, or a question I always have is whether or not you guys as the students would be interested in working on a blog that's not within Blackboard. So if I built a blog in WordPress and had us work there, just because the functionality tends to be a bit better than what's going on in Blackboard, the difference is the WordPress would be public. Let me know what your thoughts and ideas are on that if you get a chance and you don't mind. You can't reply to this announcement, so I've posted this video as an announcement so everyone will see it, but I've also posted it within the blog. So it's in blog 1, and so please go there and leave a comment to let me know what you think about how Blackboard's blogs work, and whether or not it's a good idea to keep using a blog within Blackboard, or whether or not you'd like to maybe try a blog outside of Blackboard if you were in an online class. So again, I appreciate all of your hard work. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. This has been a very engaging intercession course for me so far. We've got a week left, so keep up the good work.